All right, y'all, we are heading out of the Groves and we're heading on West Coleman Boulevard. So downtown Charleston's behind us and we're heading out towards, if we kept staying straight on this road, we'd eventually, about a mile and a half, end up on Sullivan's Island. Before we get out that far, we're going to hit the Old Village, and the Old Village is, the oldest part of Mount Pleasant. Coleman Boulevard, again, what we're on right now, is being redeveloped by the town of Mount Pleasant. Over the next 10 to 15 years, this is going to have a totally different look to it, and it's just a great spot to base from. If you can afford the Old Village, which we're getting ready to ride through, it's probably one of my favorite places in all of Charleston. It's next to Shem Creek, which is what we're riding over right now. And I think I've mentioned this before, but I'm not a big fan of the restaurants on Shem Creek. I mean, if you want to go for lunch, I think they're great places to kind of hang out, have a cocktail, whatever, but not the best food in Charleston by any stretch of the imagination. So we're heading down Coleman, and Coleman kind of splits, and we're going to take the split that is Wilden Drive, and from Wilden it's going to turn into Royal Avenue, and we're going to be in Old Village and Old Mount Pleasant. So Old Mount Pleasant and Old Village, they're kind of used interchangeably, but the truth of the matter is everything from the harbor to Royal Avenue, which is what we're on right now, is considered Old Village, and it comes at a much more expensive premium. A lot of these houses, date back to pre-Revolutionary War days. Pitt Street, which we're going to be on here in a minute, is a very historic street that's been here forever. Just, really beautiful houses. I kind of just ride you through here, and you can, kind of take in some of the old architecture, the moss hanging off the oak trees. Just a really picturesque place to live. And, I spoke about this when we were in Bayview Acres a few minutes ago. One thing to keep in mind, and, there are parts of the Old Village that are really high, like the ground's high, and we're on kind of a crested spot right now. There's places actually on the harbor that are, harborfront properties with deep water docks that are not even in a flood zone. Some of Old Village, though, is, in a flood zone that, your flood insurance rates, honestly, as they continue to reform flood insurance, could drift up. It's just, it's something to keep in the back of your mind. I wouldn't let it be a big concern, because I think that, most of the Old Village is in a pretty good spot as far as flood elevations and flood insurance goes. And you can, I think we cut a video on flood insurance some time ago you can watch, or I've got people you can talk to that can, insurance agents that can explain it better than I can. But something to keep in mind. But here we are turning onto Pitt Street, and again, predates the Revolutionary War. You've got little shops, restaurants. The Post House restaurant is right there. The old school soda fountain, Pitt Street Pharmacy, kind of cool. You've got a Village Bakery. Pitt Street, very walkable street. It runs along the harbor. Just a great place to be if you want to be in Charleston quickly and you want to be on Sullivan's Island quickly. This is kind of a good center spot in which to live. House prices in Old Village, which is where we are right now, probably in the $600,000 range on up to probably about $5 million if you're on the harbor. I sold a property last year on the harbor. It was 2.8 or something like that. But, that price point, because there's such a small amount of these properties that actually have docks on the harbor, it's a pretty big premium. And this is, an area that if you're from around here and somebody tells you they live in the Old Village, there's some status to it. It's an area too, though, if you're not from here and you ride through the Old Village, you may say, I really like it, or maybe it's not that polished. And it's because the Old Village doesn't really have, it has architectural review standards, and, it has an Old Village review committee that all your house plans or renovation plans have to pass through, but it doesn't have a homeowners association that says you can't have your boat sitting in your yard. So, sometimes people come through here and they're not, if they don't understand it, then it's something maybe they don't like as much. But I mean, as you can see riding through here right now, it's beautiful. And we live back here. I mean, I've been in Charleston for probably about 25 years, and I've probably spent 15 of those years in either Old Village, which is where we are right now, or Old Mount Pleasant. And I can tell you, man, it's a great location. I lived here a lot when I went to college in Charleston, and I could get in, downtown Charleston in 10 minutes. So, really cool spot. We're coming up on Alhambra Hall, which is where Mount Pleasant was founded, and I think I've covered this before, but I'll say it again. Mount Pleasant was originally just this land across from Charleston Harbor, and they built a dance hall, and they ferry boat people across on the weekends, and they would dance, and then they would take them back. And then over time, it's obviously been developed. But it's right now, Alhambra Hall sits next to a park, a children's play park that you can bring your kids to. My sons Zach and Noah used to swing a lot in those swings, and we used to play a lot in this playground when they were born, and it was a really cool time in my life. Again, over to our right, and you can see the dogs chasing the ball, but this is Alhambra Hall. This is all public land, so you can come back here and throw the ball with your dog, throw a frisbee, have a picnic. They rent this out for corporate events. There's a lot of weddings, and you can see way out in the distance, you probably can see the church steeples and downtown Charleston. And then further out is Fort Sumter and Charleston Harbor.